think so. Your time, Mama.
My time? Today, the new name, Janine. Yes, I said new day earlier, but it's a new day with a new day. New day with a new name, King Rastafari. I want to big up all Rasta again watching. That's my big thing this morning. Big up all the artists who sing the positive messages. Music is so powerful when we're talking about fighting for what we believe in. We talk about Bob Marley and how he helped to free people. We talk about Zimbabwe, just the healing music and the power of our music. Keep it playing all day long, people. And now we go to the protest over the death of George Floyd and others at the hands of police in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It has spread across the United States of America and other parts of the world. A former police officer was charged with third-degree murder and manslaughter. However, some persons believe that the charge isn't harsh enough. Let's join our entertainment journalist, Ray Williams, Jamaican, who is in California, and Andretta is with us now, Coley, resident in Minneapolis. Good morning, ladies.
Morning. Good morning, Empress.
Good to see you. How are things? What's the temperature like there?
Oh, it's hot today, 85 degrees.
I think I meant the political and racial temperature. But
yeah, but let me start with Andretta, because Andretta, you are in Minneapolis, right?
Yes, I am, Neville.
All right, let me ask the same question what Empress asked. So what's going on now? Are there still protests / riots going on? What's going on now?
They are. Last night they had to cover the memorial site that they have for George Floyd on Chicago Avenue because there was some rain. But right after the rain, they went straight back there.
Yeah.
So it's an ongoing protest, ongoing.
Yeah. How close are you to what went on?
Well, we have people scattered all around in different parts of the city. So I am like 8 minutes out from West Broadway down there where they're doing some protesting too. Where the shooting happened with George Floyd, I am about 15 minutes drive away.
Okay. Okay.
Andretta, do you feel afraid being black or, other black men that you know living in Minnesota? Are they afraid to go out? Are they afraid of the police?
Yes. Even before the shooting of George Floyd, I have to tell you, Empress, just driving in your car, even I as a black woman, you are afraid to be pulled over by the police because there's a lot of racial injustice that happens here. So a lot of black men, a lot of my friends, they're even afraid to walk to the park. Even I myself, I'm afraid if my 12-year-old walks to the park because you just don't know what will happen.
Let's bring in Racine. I want to come back to that, Andretta, but let's bring in Racine. Racine, morning again. You're in California?
Yep, I'm in LA.
Riots still going on, protests. What do you call it? What do you call it? A protest, a riot?
I'm calling it a protest because I tend to notice that the media tends to call it a riot when it's a certain set of people and a protest when it is another certain set of people. So for me, it is a protest, and for me, they are making their voices heard against police brutality, especially. That's a big thing here in LA as well.
That's sorry, Never. That's so interesting that you said that, Racine. And when they meaning when the European or the white Americans go out, it's a protest, and we have seen evidence that they are treated differently. When the black people come out to protest, they call it a riot. What is that saying about what is happening systematically in the United States?
I think it's a reflection of what is actually happening. And for where I am, to let you know, for location-wise, there are protests on my street. So I was able to walk out of my house and see, people walking down the road with, wounds from rubber bullets. I watched as, people came from the other direction, not a part of the protest, and were the ones doing a lot of the looting and a lot of the graffiti and stuff like that, far away from the protests, and not being police there either. The amount of police that they're sending. If I drive right now, I went to the supermarket yesterday, and the National Guard is out. There are armed guards on every corner, and I've just not quite seen anything like that. And, the heavy police presence and military presence is just very interesting to me because most of these protests are starting out very peacefully.
Yep.
you know, and are agitated by the police. And I'm not just saying that, I have seen this firsthand with my own two eyes.
Yeah. Empress asked Andretta earlier if she was scared. How do you feel about what's going on? How do you feel normally? Let's not think about what's happening now, but on an everyday basis, are you concerned that because you're a black woman, anything unforeseen might happen to you?
Here in LA, I am not so afraid. I've lived in other parts of the United States where I was definitely more afraid. When I was in Washington, D.C., I did take a lot of caution. I was actually a part of the protest in Baltimore, and I was not afraid then, but I am more afraid of that here. In this particular time, even though I'm not usually afraid in LA, right now, I'm not going to lie to you, I hesitate to, even when I'm walking my dogs, I hesitate to go too far away from where I live.
Yeah.
And they'll do things like change the curfew from 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock, from like 7 o'clock to 6 o'clock at 5:30. So if you're on the street and you're doing something, whether you're protesting or just out at the grocery store, it's very easy for them to then say, okay, you are out after curfew, when really the curfew was changed earlier. That's something I just find very appalling.
Yeah. We're in a strange time. COVID is still about. What's going on with that? Has the lockdown been lifted? And even with the curfew, I see people still out after the hours. But have they lifted the lockdown? And are you concerned that with the riots, with the protests that have been going on, are you concerned that there might be a spike in the positive cases?
California was one of the states that was a little bit slower to open. So we were just in the phase where we were starting to open stores and stuff back. That was actually supposed to happen this weekend as the protests erupted. So do I think there's going to be a spike? Definitely. Do I think we were opening too early anyways and there was going to be a spike? Definitely. But I think it will definitely go up. But will it get the attention that it was getting before? I don't think so.
Okay.
They are mobilizing resources towards this and not necessarily towards COVID anymore.
Racine and Andretta, I'm going to ask you both to answer since we're on you now. Racine, let me ask you. Do you think the racism that we see rearing its ugly head in America is the same thing in Jamaica? Is it any different when we're looking at the racial injustices?
I do think it's different, but I think we have to be very careful because I've heard a lot of talk on social media in Jamaica and saying that, oh, we have more classism than racism, but classism is racism's younger sister. They are very, very closely connected. And I do think we have a huge problem with that. And we need to not pretend like we're not a part of what is happening right now.
Andretta? Thank you, Racine.
Yes, I'm still here, Neville.
Yeah, we were asking your opinion on what we're seeing, the racism rearing its ugly head in America. Do you see the same thing in Jamaica, the racial injustice that we're seeing there? Is it the same here?
It's not really the same in Jamaica. I would say that it's a little subtle in Jamaica where it's more blatant here. Okay. We should not get confused, though, with racism and classism because I would say back home in Jamaica, as I said before, it's more subtle there in Jamaica than it is here. Yeah. Here, it's more blatant here with racism. Yes.
Double-barreled question for you, Andretta, as we come to the end of the interview. You you said earlier that you are scared, and you were even scared before that. Why are you scared? What are the police officers doing? Why are you scared? Before all of this, I can understand no, but before all of this, why would you be scared to go out?
To be fair, Neville, Minnesota has always been a quiet state, but since the shooting of Philando Castile, which I think happened about 2 years ago, that's when I got really scared, especially for myself and my two black sons.
Right.
And then when the killing, I'm sorry, because I said shooting of George Floyd before, it's not shooting, he died by the knee.
Yeah.
So it has Neville, are you hearing me?
Yeah, man, I'm hearing you.
Yes. As I was saying before, the killing of George Floyd has really put dampen more on the systemic racism that is going on here. And as I said before, just driving down the street and seeing a police officer behind you, it's like I am so scared, like I don't know what to do.
You know,
Especially,
Yeah.
sorry, Andretta, go ahead.
yes, as I said, driving down the street, simple trying to go to the grocery store and a police officer behind you, like you're not even sure what you should do.
Yeah.
I get so behind the steering wheel,
Yeah.
so I'm saying, oh, what is happening to this young lady?
Yeah.
But just as I said, doing our regular routine here, it's a scary situation.
Final question from me, Andretta. You said earlier, and I know you have 2 young sons. What do you tell them? Have you had this conversation with them about what's going on? What do you tell them?
Never.
How old are they, by the way?
I have a 12-year-old and a 3-year-old.
So what do you tell them?
Never. To be honest, I was afraid of this question because every day I get up, I get so scared, and especially for my 12-year-old because, they encourage us as Black women to give our Black sons deep talk. Like, it gets so exhausting each day for us to be giving them the talk. For example, oh, you have to comply when you see the police officer. Make sure you are sitting still. Make sure you answer their questions. Make sure you do this. Make sure you do that. So I am so tired of giving them the talk each and every day. It gets so exhausting,
You know, and Andretta, I feel your pain, and as you speak, as a mother as well, and hearing that fear in your voice reminds me of years ago, the women that tried to shield the Black men. Nothing has changed. And the pain is so real that it's just evoking the spirit of the ancestors, the women that had to fight so hard, and the men that were lynched and broken in front of us.
Yes.
It's showing us that nothing has changed. And I'm asking you both as we close, what do we now have to do as a people in America and across the world to make sure there's justice for Black men and they will never be afraid? When will we be in charge of our own systems, Andretta and Racine? We'll leave it with your note on that.
You know what? I think we have to, as Black people, get into the system. Because as we see now, the system is fighting us. We have to get into the system. We have to get into the educational system. We have to get into the legislative system. We as a nation, we have to vote and vote and vote correctly. We don't have to vote just in the primary election. We have to vote people that runs our community, the smaller legislative body. We have to vote. We have to let our voices be heard, because there's so much institutionalized racism that is happening here. So we as a Black nation, we have to really get into the system, and we have to help each other. And just, I am not saying that I condone violence, but all this that is happening in the state, they have to hear our voices. They really have to hear our voices. We can't just do one day of protest and then we sit down, go back home, and then we become apathetic. We can't just do one day of protesting. So I, as a Black woman, as I sit here, I am happy to see that they are at least hearing our voices. Last night, Tim Walz, our governor, he wrote a bill for, it's the first it's ever happening in the Minneapolis PD. He wrote a bill for a civil rights investigation into the Minneapolis Police Department dating back to the last 10 years. And I can say that is a start. That is a start for us. But as I said before, we as a Black nation, we can't just sit back and be relaxed and be taking some chill pills all day long. We have to be in the system and work.
Yeah. Thank you, Nanny.
Good to see you. Good to see you, Andretta. Good to see you. I miss you, and you be safe. Racine, final words from you, Racine.
Andretta honestly said it perfectly, and I would add to that, demand accountability from within your organizations, and that's whether you're here or you're in Jamaica still. We need to come together and know what we're fighting for. I have other Black people asking me, Why are they protesting? What are they demanding? Know that we're trying to defund police, because in some places like LA, the police force gets 54% of the budget, and that's ridiculous. That money needs to go to recreation, education, and things that can build us up. So we need to demand accountability. We need to inform each other about what we're doing. We need to just come together, you know?
Well, Racy, come together. That's a perfect end. Unity. And when she talked about recreation, the R words, I'm like reparation. Give me the 54% and let me help build up the
Racine, good
people.
to see you. Good to see you. And be safe.
Listen.
Be safe.
Thanks, ladies.
Yeah.
So,
There you go. And Jetta Colley and Racine Williams. Did you know that Racine's mom went to 4 Olympic Games?
yeah.
Yeah. Outstanding Jamaican athlete. Went to 400.
What's her name? What's Racine's
400 runner.
Oh.
I soon tell you.
Yeah.
I soon tell you.
But Racine,
Yeah, she
you're
good.
good like that.
Yeah, man. Great.
Coming from good
So
stuff.
come.
All right. Yeah, we still come.